All right, so hi everyone. Long time no see. I know. I seem to always say that nowadays, but I think we're finally back on the roll with things. So, I do apologize if the traffic sounds are too bad. I'll hopefully my mic settings will do what they're supposed to be doing. But if not, there's nothing I can do about it because we're getting into summer, and getting into summer, you know what that means? It's comic season, it's con season. And if you guys didn't know, I wouldn't really consider myself an expert at doing conventions, but I do a fair amount. I try to do at least 2 a year, if not more. And I currently have 3 lined up right now. So I know I've been really bad about announcing on YouTube and everything, so please, please, please follow me on other social media. I'm very active on my Twitter and my Instagram. They are probably the best places to keep in touch with me when I'm going live and talking about stuff. But with that, I also have Anime Guild Torrents. I'll have the date on screen here. And I will be at Anime Expo. I know. Trust me, I will get into a whole thing about that later, but not in this video. But yeah, so I did Comic-Con Revolution, and this is a bit of a story time combined with it. I'm doing a con review and a story time, just getting my stuff out there. And don't worry if you hear that, I got my notes now. I'm doing good. Got my notes. So, it all started at Manga, and at Manga, I met an amazing artist that became mutuals with, and then we became friends, and that artist is Nightly Vale, or Vel. I will have her socials linked down below. She was my amazing table buddy. We will be tabling together at AX, and we will also be tabling at Comic Con Revolution next year. So, yeah, we were able to get a table for next year, so I will see you guys in 2023. Anyway, so how this goes, me and Vel, we've been chit-chatting, we've been hanging out, we've been doing things here and there. And Vel messaged me one day and was like, "Hey, I'm really nervous. I've never done a comic convention before." They were a pretty newbie artist, and they were saying how like Manga was their very first convention they ever did, the one we met at. They've been to conventions but never really worked any, and they did, I believe, she said Anime Pasadena. And so, with that being said, she was nervous. I've never done a Comic Con either. I was nervous, and I have had a terrible luck getting tables since Manga, pretty much. It was a miracle I was able to snag Anime Pasadena for myself, but that's a whole other thing. And so she came out to me and was like, "Hey, would that be okay?" And I was like, "Sure, let me pay for half the table because you already paid for it, yada yada yada." And so we were set to go. Everything was great. And so we've been talking here and there, and we made sure we split all the funds 50-50 best we could, and everything was great. So a lot has happened in my life, though. I'm not going to talk about it here, but I'm not going to lie. The past 2 months, at the time of recording this, I'm recording this in May. It's still May. My brain had to think for a minute because next month is June. Yay, Pride Month. That's got some videos planned for that too. So we'll see you guys then. Anyway, um, the past couple months have been just horrid, and so the stress with the con on top of everything else has not been great, as well as the fact that my manufacturer kind of screwed me over a little bit. I made a charm order a month in advance, thought that'd be enough time because that was more than enough time last time. It was not. So my charms literally came the day after the con, which I'm not bitter at all. I'm bitter. I'm a little bitter. I'm salty about it. But I had a lot of my sticker designs. I had a lot of my prints. I was doing pretty well. They were amazing. It was at the exact same convention center as Manga. Now, they did staple our tables together, but wow, you know what they did? They actually gave artists space. They didn't cram us into a room like sardines. It was beautiful. They treated us so nice. There were a lot of communication errors, which I have in my cons section here, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start at the beginning. So Vel came over a couple nights before, and thank God we did. We would have been so screwed. We did a table mock-up. I had less stuff than she thought I did, and she had more stuff than I thought she did. So it ended up working out so well for the two of us that we had this like night in my apartment where we spent, I kid you not, anywhere between 4 or 5 hours just doing a table setup. Oh, but I recommend that to anybody. Anybody who is table sharing, do some table setup beforehand. You have no idea what's going to happen, especially with what happened to us. We would have been so oh, in a bad place if we hadn't have done the mock setup the night before, or the couple days before. So, needless to say, we got our setup, we got our plan, we figured things out, we got last minute things, we were good to go, right? Got our prints, got our stickers, Vel was doing buttons, I decided to do commissions because I didn't have a lot of merch, talk about that later, and so, yeah, we're ready to go. The night before the con, I could not get my badge because my brakes had died, and Vel got the table in her full legal name. So because of that, I couldn't pick up the badges for us, and I couldn't go out there and grab my badge, and Vel and I don't live really close enough to each other. We live close enough, we live about 45 minutes away from each other, but not enough to, like, warrant that. So my husband had to get my brakes fixed, he did, but because of that, I couldn't get the badges. She got the badges, and she already set up a little bit on the day zero, so that's good. But then what ended up happening was I was stressing out. I was so anxious. My normal coping mechanisms that are very legal substances in the state that I live in, but did not have the money to get right now, and I cannot mention because, you know, YouTube will definitely hate me. Didn't have any of those. So because of that, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try to go to bed early. So I tried to go to bed early, and my husband, bless his heart, scared the ever-living crap out of me, causing me to wake up in a panic-induced state because I was already stressed out, and I could not get back to sleep. So anybody who met me at Comic-Con Revolution on the first day, and I seemed dead, I pretty much was. I had been up for 24 hours, and it wasn't fun because I could not get back to sleep because I also have sleep anxiety, which is when, you know, when you're paranoid, you need to go to sleep, your anxiety keeps you awake. It's not fun. It's not great. It's not quirky. I can make a whole other video about that, but I don't want to right now. So anyway, it is early, and I'm like, I'm just going to drive out there. I'm going to get out there, and I'm going to go. So I left really early. I got there around 7:30-ish, I believe. Yeah, right around that time. And Vel, bless her heart, she got stuck in traffic. So I am now panicking. So I'm sitting in the parking lot, and I'm like, I haven't set up yet. We only have X amount of time. And we were both just told that there's an early bird ticket. From what I understand, we were not told about early bird until we got to the con. It wasn't, from what I saw, it wasn't in any email, wasn't in any packet, didn't explain it. You know, other people had to tell us. So that's one little tick on the miscommunication scale. So that happened, right? But we get in, we set up, we're doing great. We're setting up. She's in this really cute, I was going to say Black Widow. It's not Black Widow. She was dressed up as Scarlet Witch. Super cute. I love that Vel's a cosplayer. More credit to her. Any artist that also cosplays, you guys are like gods to me. I'm too out of it. I can't even. I might someday, but I swear to God, I think you guys are a whole other breed. So, and that's a compliment, not a negative. Don't misconstrue that. So we're setting up and everything's fine. And we're talking to our table neighbor who was also a complete sweetheart. Loved her. And we're getting ready, we're chit-chatting, and then over the announcer, which is something I wasn't used to. I'm not used to them announcing stuff, and we're going to get into that again later. I know I keep saying that, but I swear we are going to get into that later. So the announcer goes off, and early bird coming in 30 minutes, you know, make sure you guys are out of the alleys, and all of us are like, and we're freaking out, and so we're trying to get ready. We finish getting ready. I'm just putting on the last bit of my charms because, while none of my new designs came in, I do still have leftover stock from previous cons that after Anime Expo, I'm probably going to do some, like, mega sale on my shop with them because all of my old designs I want gone. I do not like them, and these are designs from, like, 2018, 2019. They're not bad designs. It's why I sell them at a discount. It's just, it's not what I do anymore. It doesn't match my current style. It doesn't match my current coloring style. I got them from a bad manufacturer. I just want them gone. But I also don't want to just throw them in a landfill somewhere, you know what I mean? So I'm setting those up, and who do I see but an amazing fan, Neon Krigami. If anybody goes to my streams or knows me on Twitter, they know that Neon is a very active person in my Twitch streams. And she is such a sweetheart. I've met her before. I met her at Animanga, actually. And she showed up in a Tetsu cosplay. I look like a goblin in this picture, but I will do my best to post a picture up that I got from Neon's parents that they took the picture of us because my phone decided to also die. So, super cute, super sweet. I nearly died. I never thought I would live to see the day that someone would cosplay my own characters, let alone, one of my dearest and most precious. And it was so cute. She even had a little Camino, snake around her skirt. It was so cute. So fun. She came by a bunch of times, talked to us. She bought from me and Vel quite a bit. She's always a sweetheart. Love seeing her every time. She's always really cute in my streams and everything. But another amazing thing, I got to meet another person that I know has been a fan and a mutual for a long time, Vero. Well, we're mutuals recently. I followed him back. I didn't realize I wasn't following him on Twitter. But anyway, he's another one that's always been very active in my comment section. He's been very active in my streams, both on YouTube and on Twitch over the years. And this jerk let me misgender him for years and just never corrected me. I was under the impression that Vero was a girl for the longest time, and we've talked about stuff, and we talked. I never heard his voice. As you can understand, I'm using he, him pronouns now, and that's because he told me himself, and he thought it was funny. He just never corrected me for years, and I felt stupid. It was great, though, because I told other friends of mine that know of Vero, and they were like, wait, Vero's a guy? And I'm like, yeah, same thing. And he showed up. He was a blast. Again, it's so amazing when I, recognize certain people's usernames for just being around for such a long time. And I'm not knocking people that are newer fans or people that are quiet or nervous. There's nothing wrong with that. I love meeting you guys. It's one of the most fun parts of the convention. It's what makes it, a blast, okay? So, got to meet him in his amazing, cat skull made outfit. Sick as heck. It was great. And as well as his friend, we had a lot of fun talking and chatting. He didn't buy anything, but he did give me money, which was surprising, but, I'm not complaining. And I found out that he was, in fact, a con virgin. He had never been to a convention before, and super funny and sweet, and he was, came back a couple times, and he was like, I'm surprised people want, my picture, and I'm gonna show a picture of this guy's amazing outfit on screen, probably the one with me hugging him, if I can get a good one. But I was like, yeah, it's a good outfit, dude. It's a great costume. It's a great cosplay. You're doing great. So that was really fun. Now, on the first day of the con, I know I'm gushing and blowing and rambling. That's why you guys are here, aren't you? I've always done the rambles and the tangents. If this is your first video, hi. I'm sorry, I'm not very cohesive. I like to consider myself much more of a storyteller when I recap these things, so that way it's more entertaining for people to listen to. Anyway, so we're listening, we're having fun. Me and Vel, though, are getting a little nervous. So, because it's pretty slow. It is, for a con, it is pretty slow. And from everything we've heard from other people for this convention, it was also pretty slow. We believe that they didn't spend a lot of good money marketing. I did, in fact, see it on billboards and some buses and stuff here and there. But when you are marketing a convention, a nerd and or geek convention, you need to pay for online advertising. Billboard's not going to do much. It needs to be stuff on Twitter. It needs to be stuff on TikTok. It needs to be... That's what you need to do nowadays. That's what you need to do. And so, before anybody asks, the mask mandate was not enforced. This might sound horrible. I don't care anymore. I'm so done with that. It's not that I'm heartless. It's that nobody else seems to care. I'm fully vaccinated and boosted. Everyone I care about is fully vaccinated and boosted. I still wear a mask in big events like this. I'm just kind of done with it. And that's something I've said previously. Even years down the line, I'm probably still going to wear masks at cons because of just con funk. Oh my god. You have no idea how great it is when you've done cons or gone to cons and you wear a mask and you wake up the next day and you're not sick. It's honestly kind of amazing, especially when you're an artist and you're handling money and people at your booth and yada, yada, yada. So for anybody who's asking, no, they don't really care anymore. It's, very, very dumb, but I'm not here to talk about that now. Like I said, it's a whole other thing. So, yeah, Spinkers, you gotta stop. Mama's working. Mama's trying to do her audio, okay? She's already not good at YouTube anymore. But anyway, we were there, we were working, we were talking to people, and on the first day, both of us barely made table. I wouldn't even say break even. I originally thought we broke even on the first day. We both didn't. We barely made table, which made us both nervous because, like I said, we split the table. So we didn't even have a full table, that we paid for each other. And so because of that, it was like, oh gosh, what are we gonna do here? So with that being said, we were very we were very nervous about the next day. But we were both talking and we're like, hey, if we at least break even, the people at this con have been amazing, which they were. This by far, for the people interactions and the customer interactions and the fan interactions, by far the best one I've had. Honestly, I would say ever. I had so many people coming by our booth just to chit chat with us. We were having a blast. I ended up making lots of new mutuals now. Another amazing thing was, I actually properly networked. We traded business cards. We started following people. So, I actually started talking to a lot more artists. A whole new world record happened for me where only one artist was a jerk. And trust me, I know, that might not sound like a lot, but it is. It's a big deal. And so because of that, I was like, okay, times really are changing. And the simple fact of the matter is they weren't even as bad as some other people that I've heard about, that I've talked about in a long time or heard of from other friends. So I'm still taking it as a win. So we're getting ready to pack up, because everybody's insisting that the con ends around 5 o'clock. This is still the first day. I'm not even talking about the second day yet. And we're waiting. I have now been up for, at that point, about 26, almost 27 hours. I am exhausted. I'm really worried about my drive because my original plan was going to stay at my parents' because they live really, really close to that convention center. And then I would just drive home in the night and get stuff or just, show up to the con in the morning. And so that's not what happened though. My mom was very concerned about, Six Becky Round Boy going on. And the fact that even though I am vaccinated, there's a lot of people at the con and, she asked about the mask thing. And I was irritated because I was tired, but I completely understand where my mom's fears are. My parents are both extremely high risk. My dad literally has COPD and mesothelioma. I get it. I'm not heartless. I lost someone to Six Becky Round Boy back in 2020. So I was, however, irritated that I was like, all right, deuces, gonna go drive home now. And when that was happening, I turned to Vel and I was like, Vel, I think I need to leave right now or I'm not going to be safe driving home. And she was really worried. I felt really bad about leaving early, but it is a good thing because it is true. I nearly didn't make it home. I almost fell asleep at the wheel, and I know people are going to be really mad at me. Trust me, I was mad at myself. And before anybody says anything about oh, we'll pull over, take a 30-minute nap, I am a person that cannot physically do that. I'm not saying that to be facetious. I'm not saying that to be hurtful or mean. I literally cannot do that because of certain experiences that happened to me. I would not be well rested enough to even drive home. It would be worse. So I barely made it home. I did make it home. I'm never doing something like that again. I will just leave sooner in that case. But I did find out the convention ended about an hour later. So I had just gotten home in time. And that definitely won't be happening next year. So go home, clean up, count my money, and I realized, okay, I did break even. I just barely broke even. Vel told me that she was close to breaking even, but not fully there yet. And so we were both like, okay, but hey, that means whatever we make tomorrow, that's a profit day. So that's a win, right? And she's like, yeah, that's a win. So went to bed early. Oh my God, I felt so good. After knocking out, I felt the most well-rested I have in such a long time. It was beautiful. And I do mean that. It was a glorious experience. Woke up at 6 a.m., took a long shower, I had a long breakfast, I did my inventory, I did my stock, I got all cutesy, I wore a nice little black and white top, I put some makeup on, I was ready to go. So, head there around 7:30, about the same time. And a lot less people are there this time, but I'm like, it's early, it's the second day, it's not that big of a deal. So I am there, and I meet up with my new mutual, her name is Frankie Lennon. And the only reason I remember that is because I have her business card right here, because I filmed the little haul I did in my vlog. That should be going up soon, if it didn't already go up. Anyway, but yeah, Frankie Lennon, super sweet, super amazing. And she was talking to me, and so was her friend who's this really amazing magician guy. And We both go to the gate. We go to the gate, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm an artist," and they were like, "Oh, okay, we can't let you in until 9 o'clock." And I'm like, "That can't be right, because early bird was 9 the other day." And I wasn't gonna argue with the guy at the kiosk. I've done those jobs. I've worked for companies like that. I know sometimes they literally don't tell you anything; they just tell you this and not why. So I never really get mad at those people as long as they're not being like mean back, and he really wasn't. So I tell Frankie before I, knew her, and she's like, "That can't be right." And so then we go around to the front of the convention. Okay, we go to the front of the convention, and we check the doors, and one of the doors is unlocked. So we just walk in to the front of the convention center. Fully unlocked. We get in, we go to where the artist alley is. There's a security guard there, and he's like, "Hey, you guys aren't allowed to be here." And we're like, "Oh no, it's okay. We're vendors. We're artists. We're supposed to be here." And the security guard was like, "Oh, okay." And the security guard was super nice, and he just let us kind of hang out outside by the artist alley, because the artist alley room was locked, as well as the exhibition hall or the vendors hall was locked. So we're sitting out there, we're waiting. The three of us are networking. Amazing magician guys doing some really fun tricks. And we're chit-chatting, we're talking about stuff. Frankie went through some stuff. I'm not going to share it. That's obviously not my place to. But we were talking about stuff. It was her first time doing con too, so I know hers. She said like her experience ended up becoming much, much, much nicer towards the end. And so we're sitting there, we're waiting, and another security guard comes up, and she tells us we need to leave. And we were like, "What do you mean we need to leave?" And the security guard was very curt. So I'm not fully mad at them, but they could have talked a little nicer. Clearly there was a miscommunications issue. I'm a lot more calm talking about it now. I was a lot more heated at the time because the security guard, the second one, not the first one, was a lot more rude and a lot more forceful. It was just like, "You guys can't wait here. We can't let people in until 9. And we're like, "Well, we weren't told this. There was no email. There was no nothing. We don't know what to do." And they're like, "Well, you can't do that." So we're like, "Okay, so we're going to wait out front." We're waiting out front. We're talking. We're whatever. We're not trying to cause a scene. People are looking at us. People are starting to line up, and vendors starting to line up, and they're being told they can't go in, and they're getting mad. And so we're hanging out. We're chit-chatting. We're waiting. And then the security guard comes back and is like, "You guys can't wait here. Please go wait by the loading docks." And Frankie's friend is disabled. And he brought up, he's like, "I have a disability. This is going to be really hard on me." And we were like, "Hey, can we help you?" And they would not let him in. That's a whole nother thing. Am I blaming the convention and the security as a whole? No. And let me explain why. I've worked these kinds of events when the person who is... So how these things usually work is an investor or a runner of a con or an event will rent out the hall. They will rent out the place. That's usually how it works. And then they tell the security with the building what the plans are. They email everybody else. Half the time it is just a building. You know what I mean? We find out the front door was unlocked, which is why we were able to just walk in, was because the cleaning lady forgot to lock it, which that's a whole other safety hazard I hope they fixed after this, because the security was mad too. So it wasn't a good time all around. So we end up walking. We make sure that the magician friend is okay. He says he's okay. He's doing some stretches. We're hanging out. We're now at the loading docks. We're hanging out. We're talking more. I'm texting Vel. Vel's like, "I'm stuck in traffic again." I'm like, "It's fine. They're not letting us in till 9, apparently." And even she's like, "What do you mean they're not letting us in till 9? Now other people are coming in. Vendors, exhibitors, artists, crafters." And they're all like, "Let us in. You're not letting us in. We have to set up." And the people are like, "The guy running the con's not here. He's not answering the phone. We were told not to let anybody in until 9. And that's because on the last day, not a single vendor, artist, or seller was told that the con hours were early bird was 10 a.m. and general admission was 11 a.m. Not a single one of us was told this. Everyone was pissed. There's no way around it, because that is, in con speak, that is hours you're not getting paid. That is hours just lost out the window now that could have been done doing other things or relaxing or eating before getting back to the event. And some people did full takedowns before doing it stuff. I'm not a fan of full takedowns, especially if I know, because I've already done that convention center before, that I know they lock the things in, but that's just a personal thing for me. Obviously, if it's not a safe event, I will do a full takedown, but that just means more work. So, you get what I'm saying. We're waiting. More people are there. More people are getting pissed. A lot of artists are talking, though, and we're having fun, hanging out. And then they finally let us in at 9 o'clock. Oh, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. They let us in at exactly 8:59, like on the dot. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. But we all get in, we all start setting up, and we can just relax. So that was really fun. That was great. Vel showed up. She got me some coffee. She was dressed up for the second day as Thanos Hutao from Genshin. It was great. Honestly, a lot of her she's a hoot. I'm so happy she's a table buddy. And my new con daughter as because she's called me her con mom, so we're a little con family now. And so get in, and it's pretty slow at first, but we're hanging out, everything's fine and dandy. And then the rush comes in, and we're just like, "Oh my god." It was still relatively slow. It was not like it was at Animanga or any other con I've done, but it was a lot faster than the first day, which was a relief because we were talking to other artists, and a lot of other artists were very nervous because a lot of other artists were like, I didn't even hit break even, I didn't do this and that. So, in a good and bad way, we both felt a little relieved because it's better to know that like everybody's kind of not doing a good time than some people are doing a great time and others aren't. You know what I mean? And it's a hard concept to understand, but if everyone or like 80% of everyone's doing like pretty not good in sales, that does mean it is a con issue over your own merch because we're all artists here. We're all selling our stuff. We're selling our wares, and it can get nervous at times. You can get really worried that you're like, oh, is it my stuff? Was I wrong to invest in here and not in that? So when you hear that, it does give a bit of a sense of relief, which it did for us. And then we got to meet amazing people again. Vero showed up for a second day. It was great seeing him again. He was in a whole other outfit. And got to hang out with him, talk with him for a bit more. Other people showed up. A couple of other fans showed up. Very excited to meet them. I'm always surprised when my fans are like, underage. Not in a bad way. It's just always surprising because I know how I talk and how I am on streams and stuff. So when like, a 14-year-old comes up and they're like, oh, hey, I love watching your stuff. I'm always like, child. That's no shame. That's nothing on you guys. I'm not saying it to offend you. To me, it's always shocking, and it is great, and it really does put into perspective, how far your reach can be. And I think that's something else that a lot of content creators should do to keep, like, humble is really know your audience, see where your, like, ballpark is. And so we got to talk with some really cool cosplayers. We got to hang out with people. Sales were doing much better. And now, that's the basic review. End of the day was great. Teardown was great. And then they did offer us the ability to get a table for next year, and me and Vel jumped on it in a heartbeat. We're like, let's go get those tables. So we got the tables. We'll see you guys in, I believe they said it's June, but if not, ComicCon Revolution of 2023. Me and Vel will be there. Very excited to see you guys. Can't wait to see what else is there. But now, let's get into a little bit more of the technical side. All right. I know I'm getting super super longy here, but I mean that's what I hear you guys like, right? You guys like that kind of stuff. So. I brought up how I had to do commissions at the con. Now, before anybody says anything, I don't want anyone who commissioned me at the con to feel upset with what I am about to say. Your commissions were fun. I enjoyed doing them. But doing commissions at a con, for me, does give me a lot of stress. I often only do commissions at a con when I am really nervous and I'm really worried I'm not going to make money. And honestly, doing those commissions did help a lot. Technically, the ones I got, I was able to pay for my table half for next year. So that is very good. But it is very nervous because, while I'm working, especially when you have a table buddy that is also an artist selling their wares, you have to pause every now and then. You have to talk to people. You have to make sure people are all right with giving you their address because you're doing traditional commissions, And so because of that, you got to make sure. I did end up having to mail a commission out to somebody because I did not get it done in time by the time they left, And so that's a whole other thing. And then you have to hope that person eventually gets their commission. It is stressful. It's not a bad thing. A lot of artists do them. It's just something that I really only like doing if the con is very, very, very slow or I don't have a lot of merch, which is true. I really didn't. I only had my stickers and some mini prints. I didn't even have all the prints that I needed to get done, which does remind me, thanks for doing this audio, Michelle. You got to write that note down. I have to reorder more prints. But that helped a lot, as well as I had a little shame box. So when doing the commissions, like I said, the commissions were fun. I had a blast doing them for you guys. I just felt bad because, I have to rush them out. I have to make sure they're there. And so as an artist, It's why I tell them that they are sketch cards and they're not fully finished things, because I would not be comfortable getting a fully finished thing done at a con. I just wouldn't, unless I had like multiple people helping me out. But then that defeats a little bit of the purpose, because I really like the networking and the talking and the hanging out and the sharing stories and the bonding. So, yeah. So, there was that. What else did I have? The con, like I did say, did speed up, but it wasn't enough to like make bank. I did, in fact, make, after paying for the table, after paying for some things here and there, I did make about $300 profit, which isn't bad, but it is hypothetically, I think, the worst I've ever done at a convention. And I do mostly blame, again, you know, the networking. I didn't have all of my stuff, yada, 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 but I did still make a profit, so it is still a win. What would I vote this con? Honestly, I would say about an 8 out of 10, but if I had to go off of technicalities alone, 7 out of 10. The 8 out of 10 was because, like I said, I have such amazing memories from this con now. The people were so much fun to talk to. I loved the artist. I loved the community. I loved how helpful other vendors were with other vendors. You know, usually a lot of exhibitors usually look down on ArtistAlley and stuff like that, so it was really nice to see a lot of camaraderie there, getting to talk with a lot of amazing people, seeing a lot of fun faces. There were a lot of people I saw from Animanga, because I think they live in the area, so if they're like, oh, convention at that convention center, you know, it's fun. It's a blast. I can't wait. It's exactly why we decided we were going to do the con next year. So, let's see. Is that everything? I think that's everything on my notes. I don't really have much else besides, like, the miscommunication on the, you know, owner's part, which, even then, it wasn't great, but it was not as bad as I've heard some things going on. And, like I said, I do know people complained, so hopefully that will be a thing that will get changed for next year. Let's see. Yeah, no, I think that's it. I think that's everything. I know I should have had more, but there really isn't I can think of right now. Yeah, that's all I have written down. That's all I did. I loved Comic-Con Revolution. I had a blast. I cannot wait till next year. And I can't wait for Anime Guild Torrents. And I definitely cannot wait till Anime Expo, which I am very, very nervous about. But I promise I will be making a video in the future explaining the AX situation, because if any of you guys have been fans for a while, you kind of know a little bit of my feelings about Anime Expo. But I will talk about that in a later video. This one's already been going on long enough. Thank you always for listening. Please remember, if you can't think of anything to comment for the bot, because this platform is stupid. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm happy to be making videos again, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.